A song in my heart, the story of men and their music, of composers who really had a song in their hearts.
It happened in Monterey without thinking twice. I left her and threw away that key to paradise. My English sweetheart longs for the sweetheart that I left in old
Do you recall that hit number? It was sung by John Bowles in that film epic, The King of Jazz, which was woven round that pioneering maestro of dancipation, Paul Whiteman himself. It was one of the super-duper talkies of its time. And many of the song hits in the film were provided by, hold your horses, a girl, a very young girl at that, Mabel Wayne. Yes, Mabel is one of the few, the very few girls who made a complete success of songwriting. In fact, she's the first lass to hit this presentation. But when we revive some of her hit tunes, you'll agree that she merits a rating in this program. Let's see. We first heard of Mabel sometime around 1925. It was in the publishing house of Leo Feist Incorporated, one of Tin Pan Alley's greatest pickers of big sellers. In the office of General Manager Ed Bittner, top executive Theodore Morse, better known as Teddy, himself a songwriter, had this to say.
Ed, I've just had a young girl run over some melodies to me, and I think she's got something.
A girl, Teddy? Oh, I can't imagine it. You know the old axiom, girls can't write song hits.
Yeah, I know, Ed, I know, but there's always the exception. Carrie Jacobs Bunn, for instance.
Sure, she was one of the few. So was Guy Dardlow and Amy Woodford Fenton. Remember Indian Love Lyrics? But, Teddy, you must admit they're few and far between.
Yeah, I'll grant that, Ed, but this kid, she's different. As a matter of fact, she's still outside. Would you let her run over a number for you? Somehow I think you like her music.
Seeing as you're so persistent, Teddy, maybe I'd better capitulate. Send her in.
Okay, Ed. Miss Cobb, would you show Miss Wayne in, please? Miss Wayne, I want you to meet our general manager, Mr. Bittner.
Glad to meet you, Mr. Bittner.
Yeah, happy to know you too, Miss Wayne. Well, Mr. Morse here thinks you have some good melodies. And as I greatly respect his judgment, maybe you'd like to let me hear one, huh?
Why, certainly. Which one do you think, Mr. Morris?
Well, the very first one you let me hear. You know, that number with the unusual waltz rhythm.
Surely. I haven't a title for it, Mr. Bittner. I'm not a lyric writer, unfortunately, but I'll run over it exactly as is.
Thanks, Miss Wayne. Go right ahead.
Well, what do you think, Ed?
I think it's good. In fact, very good. See, we get a top lyric writer on the job. If he can give us as good a set of words as that melody, I guess we'll have another hit on our hands.
And he was correct. For when that song was published, it spread its charm over the world and became an overnight smash. It was, of course, the enchanting In a Little Spanish Town.
In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this. Stars were peekabooing down, 'twas on a night like this. She whispered, "Be true to me," and I sighed, "See, see." Many stars have turned to gray, but still we're far apart. Many moons have passed, but still she lingers in my heart. We sang a love song and sealed it with a kiss. In a little Spanish town, 'twas on a night like this.
The success of this song made even blasé Tin Pan Alley sit up and take notice. For rarely, very rarely, has a newcomer made a clean-up with the first number. In fact, this sort of chatter went round.
Say, Al, that big feist hit, Little Spanish Town. Who do you figure wrote it?
Well, I don't know, Sam. Its composer sure is a girl, Mabel Wayne.
Yeah, but that's probably a phony. We ever heard of a girl writing a natural like that?
And rumors like that were rife around Broadway. The same kind of hooey that served up from time to time against songwriters like Irving Berlin, by know-alls, who tell you he has ghost writers. Apple sauce. Common sense tells us that if these ghost writers exist, why aren't they grabbed off by music publishers, who are always on the alert looking for that elusive hit? But whoa, we digress. This is Mabel Wayne's story. So, back to the office of musical publisher Leo Feist.
Well, Mabel Wayne, you certainly gave us a winner in Little Spanish Town.
It's proved a wonderful thrill to me, Mr. Bittner.
You haven't got that on your own either. But I wanted to talk to you about your success at the Spanish Town. We figure your new number is going to prove even better.
Oh, well, I hope you're right, Mr. Bittner.
I think I am. Although it's always hard to predict a hit, but this time we want Wolf Gilbert to write the lyric. He's one of the most versatile rhymesters in all songdom.
Wolf Gilbert? Oh, he's written an awful lot of hits.
He surely has, Mabel, even going right back to his Waiting for the Robert E. Lee. And he's still writing them.
And so it came about that Mabel Wayne gave the world another smash. A song that ran into the 2 million copy class. What was it? Well, it was originally used as the theme to one of the great silent film epics of the day. The talkies had not yet arrived, and if you can look back that far, you'll recall that every movie house carried its own orchestra in those days, and that a movie theme was plugged repeatedly during the screening of the film. This one starred that mercurial beauty of the silence, Dolores Del Rio. Title, the same as Mabel Wayne's number, Ramona.
Ramona, I hear the mission bells above. Ramona, they're ringing out our song of love. I press you, caress you, and bless the day you taught me to care. To always remember the rambling rose you wore in your hair. Ramona, when day is done, you'll hear my call. Ramona, we'll meet beside the waterfall. I dread the dawn when I awake to find you gone. Ramona, I need you, my own.
The success of Ramona, and it was sensational, proved to the Broadway skeptics that Mabel Wayne was no phony. That she was, to the contrary, a composer of considerable merit. And wherever she went, she was spotlighted as a songwriting genius. The idea of this young girl writing two sensations like Spanish Town and Ramona captured the public's imagination, and Mabel Wayne became front-page news in show business. And then came the talkies, and with them, a contract for Mabel to do several numbers for, as we mentioned earlier, Paul Whiteman's King of Jazz. This was a high compliment, because there wasn't a songwriter living who wouldn't have given his all to have a number featured by the old maestro, Whiteman. And the girl composer didn't let him down. In addition to It Happened in Monterey, she gave them that cute little song, Ragamuffin Romeo.
A little tale I'll tell to you about the love of someone who they call the Ragamuffin Romeo. He'd sigh and wail as lovers do when thinking of his sweetie too. Poor little Ragamuffin Romeo. In dreams only they had ever met, and at dawn he'd away oh so lonely for his Juliet. And then he would take his little sack and hit the road, collecting rags at each abode. Poor little ragamuffin Romeo. In dreams only they had ever met, and at dawn he'd awake. Oh, so lonely for his Juliet. And then he would take his little sack and hit the road, collecting rags at each abode. Poor little ragamuffin Romeo.
That talkie, King of Jazz, also gave a young up-and-coming crooner his first chance to sing to a movie audience. Maybe you've heard of him. His name is Bing Crosby. Back in New York again, Mabel was approached by her publisher once more.
You know, Mabel, I figure the public is waiting on another waltz from you. Something with a Spanish flavor again.
Like a little Spanish town, maybe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what do you think?
Can do, if you think so.
Fine. Go to it and see if you can hit the bullseye again.
And once more, we had a charming waltz from this gifted woman. This time, Chiquita. But although it received a great plug, it never achieved the success of its predecessors. But it's still worth reviving. So here it is.
Oh, come back, my darling Chiquita. The chapel on the hill covered with dew remind me that tears of sorrow awake me at dawn tomorrow. A love kiss I'll beg or borrow from memories. Remember the sunset, Chiquita, the day that we first met, Chiquita. A rose within your hair, I set its fragrance everywhere. Oh, come back, Chiquita, to me. Sunset, Chiquita, the first day we met, my Chiquita. A rose within your hair, I set its fragrance everywhere. Oh, come back, Chiquita, to me.
After this song, Miss Wayne had a few near misses. All good songs, but apparently not quite. Discussing it with a friend one day, she mentioned,
You know, I think the public are looking for something different from me.
How come, Mabel?
Well, you know how it is. You write a couple of naturals, and music publishers want to type you. Want you to give them waltzes like Ramona all the time.
They are a bit that way, I admit. What are you going to do about it?
Give them something totally different, of course. And I think I've got the right idea for it.
A new song, eh? What are you calling it?
Little man, you had a busy day.
You know the rest. This song proved another sensation, and with its charming sentiment about a baby, topped the hit parades throughout the world.
Little man, you're crying. I know why you're blue. Someone took your kitty car away. Better go to sleep now, little man. You've had a busy day. Johnny won your marbles. Tell you what we'll do. That'll get you new one right away. Better go to sleep now, little man. You've had a busy day. You've been playing soldiers, the battle has been won. The enemy is out of sight. Come along there, soldier, put away your gun. The war is over for tonight. Time you stopped your scheming, time your day was through. Can't you hear the bugle softly say, time to do some dreaming, little man. You've had a busy day. My baby, my baby, my baby. Time you stopped your scheming, time your day was through. Can't you hear the bugle softly say, time to do some dreaming, little man. You've had a busy day.
Needless to say, with a hatful of songs like this to her name, Mabel Wayne was drawing very big royalty checks. Further, she reigned supreme as the top woman songwriter of her day. She opened a new field for girls who could deliver the right melodies, but few of them followed her, and man is still a way ahead in the art of creative music. But after all, Mabel Wayne's tunes were unique, and at least two have reached the goal of all songwriters and become standards. That Miss Wayne has lost none of her imaginative skill is shown by the fact that in 1950, some 25 years after the publication of her first song, she gave us still another hit, and a mighty good one, too. In fact, an ideal one for the curtain of the Mabel Wayne story. It was On the Outgoing Tide.
On the outgoing tide, I know that you're leaving today, and my tears will be a part of the sea that's taking you, darling, away from me. But they can't take my dreams. They can't take the love in my heart. And although I know we're drifting apart, if heaven has meant you for me, I know I will sail at your side someday on the outgoing tide. If heaven has meant you for me, I know I will sail at your side someday on the outgoing tide.
And so we conclude another episode of a composer with a song in her heart. And we can pay Mabel Wayne no greater compliment than to reiterate that she's the only woman whose story has been related in this series to date. The artists who contributed to this dramatization were Patricia Kennedy, Douglas Kelly, Richard Davies, Kenrick Hudson, Eula Parker and her Parkettes, Horry Dargis Quartet, and Max Blake. Your narrator was John Morgan. Orchestra and chorus were under the baton of William Flynn. With a Song in My Heart was produced by Alfred Potter and scripted and directed by Jack O'Hagan.